What up, it's your boy Stefan with the Master of Me podcast. Master of Me? Hey, my man. What do you mean master? How do you become master of anything? You tell me. You focus all of your energy on one thing. One thing, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Christina Calderon in the house. Christina, I'm sitting here with Christina. As we jump into this podcast here, I just want to say kudos to you for shocking the hell out of me with your skill set in Jiu-Jitsu. I was not expecting that. I thought I was going to be able to hang just based off wrestling, that I'd be okay. And I realized that they are two different animals right away.
Yeah, definitely. That was the first time that I've ever done wrestling versus jiu-jitsu, like one technique versus, or one,
Right.
I don't know, what do you call it?
Style?
Yeah,
Style's
one
a good
style
one,
against another.
Of martial arts, right? 'Cause
Martial
it's-
arts, yeah.
Exactly.
And so it was really fun, and it was really interesting to learn the rules as well,
Right.
too. Like, you taught me a lot about what it is like to compete in wrestling, you know, and so... Oh, man. I mean, I learned so much. There's a lot of things that I would like pick and choose, like that I would take from wrestling, like the way you base out, you're sprawling. I mean, you're so hard to take down. I don't think I would ever have, you took me down like 1,000 times.
You're
Every
trying to
time I
gas
went
me
to the
up.
ground,
Again,
it
this
was because
is
you took me
happening,
down. But yeah, I mean, so just there's so many things about wrestling that I love, but also I really grew to appreciate jiu-jitsu so much more that day because I didn't realize how dynamic it is and how good it is even just for self-defense and teaching, you know, like you kept putting me on my back and I'm like, that's okay. I want to be
100%.
here. It was wild.
Yeah.
So it was like so many cool discoveries all at once yesterday. It was a blast.
I think same way. I feel opinionated about how their strengths in wrestling, they felt different because where I wanted to apply more pressure, like in moving and driving, whereas in jiu-jitsu, it didn't serve me any well. Like when I got there, it was like I was overworking, so I had to slow myself down. So I was like panicking inside.
And I was just chill. I'm like laying there, letting you
100%.
smash me. And I'm like, that's
100%.
okay. I'm just waiting for you to move so that I can make my move and attack.
Yeah, and that's what, like, being there of like, all right, what do I do next? Like I had to think of like, okay, so technically, like, I'm not in a good spot right now. I have to work on how can I submit her. And so then I just started working different angles on stuff, but it was confusing because there's no like habit structure for me. So I was in a different realm of like in wrestling, there's like I got a triangle of 3 things I can do at all times. So if I get put in a spot, I move into the next one, moving to the next one, and that's how I can keep pressure going forward. But there I was like, all right, I'm stuck with 0. And like I teach the kids in wrestling, like if you have 3 moves in your mind, you only really have 2 on the table because they're going to block one and then you got to work towards the other 2. Same, if I'm only focused on 2 things, I really have 1 move that'll work. And if I'm only focused on 1 thing, which I was yesterday, then I had 0 because when that didn't work, I'm down to like, oh man, I got nothing else in my pocket here. So then I'm basing like trying to get back out, start from the top, which we end up in the same spot again. What killed me was like going in for a shot and you went around my neck. Like that just slowed the pace down of like what? Like normally another person would be panicking in this moment and we're going down. Like they're fighting to get to their belly and I know what it feels like. What I didn't know what it felt like was when I started to lift you, in my world is a good thing. But then to you, you're like, let me slow this down.
I just wrapped my legs around you.
It felt
your
like
waist.
a freaking python.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, hold on.
I
slow down.
attached to you.
Not
yeah,
good.
as
Not
opposed to, yeah, it was so interesting. Yeah, the guillotine is one of my favorite submissions. I just love chokes, period.
Right.
But yeah, because I realized, and that's like cool, right? When you get to that place where you can start strategizing,
Right.
you know, we talked about, it gets so much better. It's so much more fun. But I just knew that I couldn't take you down because, again, like your base is so strong and I couldn't get underneath you for like a judo throw. And plus we were in no-gi.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't pull guard because of the no-gi. So I was like, okay, you were so fast off the block, just taking me down. So I'm like, I just got to let them come and figure out how to like navigate around yours, like a reversal or go for the submission right off the takedown. And so,
It's so weird that you felt like that. Now that you're saying it, like I'm seeing it from a different light
yeah.
because like I felt helpless in areas at the same time. Like even when we first started, I went for like an arm throw and like you just took my back fast. I was like, dang, like someone else would have flew in that area. And I was like, why did I even do that? Like it's just like the thought process was different for me. I started to realize at that point. But you had a good point yesterday, like in your post of talking about like bonding and stuff like that. It gets it's so interesting how like the connection happens so fast to
Yeah.
where you're not really like trying to figure out their mind with words on how the person is. You're like learning their intuition, you're learning like through their body how it speaks. And then I think like ultimately you get like this connection of like, all right, you're human, I'm human. And then you start to feel okay of like, all right, I can work this.
Yeah. So, and it's so funny. And I guess wrestling is, I mean, we're both in the martial arts
Mm,
world and in mixed martial arts, jiu-jitsu, wrestling. I mean, they all kind of tie in together into that world.
uh-huh.
Starts with even a conversation. Like if you ever notice, if you go somewhere and you're talking about wrestling and somebody's like, "Oh yeah, I wrestled in college,"
Right.
or whatever, you know what I mean? Or like somebody's like, "Oh yeah, I do jiu-jitsu too." And like I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's that instant bond
Right.
connection from just knowing that you guys both train in that like sport because it's not for everyone.
100%.
And so you know a lot about that person before you even know them,
This
just
is
by
true.
the fact that they do the same kind of like
It's
dark art
right.
sometimes
It's game
that you do.
recognized game. Like
Yeah.
you know for yourself what it took to even get to the place to be where you're at in this moment. And from there, like you also know that there's trials, tribulations, like you go through your injuries, like and you got to already put the other person like be in their shoes knowing that they've been through similar. Like I'm sure you can just whip out a long
Yeah.
list of injuries or defeats or even like, you know, even for like me feeling stuck, that frustration, like it brought me back to places like in high school where I didn't understand like freshman year wrestling so much on why you need to set up yourself like two moves ahead versus just focus on the one takedown. It's like you're already getting into those leg laces right when you take them down, so that way you can score fast. But getting to a spot, being frustrated, like it brought me back to that. And like it humbled me a little bit to like when I coach my kids, my daughter's there, and like sometimes I'm talking and she'll look back and she'll get rolled or something, but it's almost like she's taking out her frustration like on me at the time because I'm telling her something that like she's trying obviously, but at the same time it's not as easy as you think when you don't have the habit built so much of the like enduring that pain or still pushing through when you're in a hard
So
spot.
that's a huge one right now. Or that right there is because you have to be really relentless to make it in this sport, whether
Right.
it be wrestling, whether it be jujitsu, those like more aggressive type sports. Um, you're getting beat up every single day
Mm,
and you still come back for more. And the amount of time it takes to become as good as you are, as good as I am, you know, when you're competing, teaching, coaching, all that stuff, it is one of the biggest commitments that you will ever see. And it comes from a love that is so great for, you know, this one style of sport or martial art, whatever you want to call it. But it's definitely different. And so the interesting thing too is I have a couple real estate agents that like you'll notice like some of the agents that train jujitsu, like they're some of the best agents you can ever find. They're just very successful in life
right.
a lot of times in what they do because they're used to the rejection. They're
Right.
used to the pain. They're used to the tears. They're used to all of the conditioning it takes and still coming back for more.
Right.
So it's like it's just a different person. It's a and we don't always start like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's as I bring a lot of women in,
Right.
and you know sometimes they come to my gym, and sometimes I place them in other gyms that I know are safe for women. Um, but we have to make it fun,
Right.
you know, because not everyone will come back to get their ass kicked. over and over and over
Right.
again if it's not just at least a little bit of fun. And so like we laughed, like I laugh the entire time I train. Like I giggle, I laugh. Like when I roll, I'll be choking you out and laughing like a freaking psychopath.
And what I couldn't tell either, like if it was in just like spots where you're dominating or other spots too, like even the uncomfortable parts.
Yeah.
There was parts where you're still giggling, and I was like,
You
I think I
took
was
me
up in
down
that
so hard a
spot.
couple times, and I'm
Yeah,
like, and you looked at me like, are you okay? And I'm over here like laughing, like it's that even still is so much fun to me. I'm like, oh, good one. You know what I
right.
mean? It's just so different.
I try to mention to the kids as much as I can is that we're here to help them and not hurt them, to keep that like that feeling to come back on the growth and getting
Mm.
them used to like the pain that it's for a purpose. Otherwise, their parents wouldn't bring them. Otherwise, we
Yeah.
wouldn't coach it. We would do something else to help them grow. But this is how you start to callous yourself and get stronger and get to the places where you need to be. And like with the kids, like I feel like they're connected to me on purpose. Like they like childhood, like who knows, you can see it through them, like the kids that are quieter or the kids like you get to see the parents too at the same time, so you know like it can be rough at home or
Mm.
they've experienced a lot at an early age, like especially ones that
Yeah.
went through death or something like that in their family. Then like it's a calling that I can relate to them, and now when I get to communicate I can come from a place of love and not just a coach or another parent trying to yell at them. Like it's more of like when I look at myself, like I look at you and I can see myself through your eyes and I'm communicating the best that I can. And I'm not perfect, but at the same time, here's why we have to get to this next spot. And you mentioned a good point too of like you want to know the why on why we need to get there. So
Mm-hmm.
like breaking down to the little minds that there's a purpose of why we're moving in this direction,
Yeah.
or even the small stuff like the hips where we're building muscles in the hips, which just seem like redundant like bridges that are boring, but at the same time they have a purpose. And we get to the move when they have to have explosive hips, and then understand why if we don't, it can be harder when you're trying to roll somebody, especially in those gut wrenches and stuff. Like if you have somebody equally as strong as you and they're on top and they're stuck, like you're putting yourself in a very vulnerable spot. And so you have to like
Yeah.
explode from that place. What got you into the martial art, jiu-jitsu, the sport world?
Yeah. So I had a long history of violence and abuse,
Mm-hmm.
from sexual to physical, and just something happened, and I promised myself that it would never happen again. Like
Mm.
I would never get hurt again. Um, but I didn't really know where to start, and I truly believe that like when you put it out into the universe, or God, or whatever your belief is, like it really does um, gift that to
Mm.
you if you want it bad enough, and kind of lays it before you in a really unique way sometimes. But I was at Rusty's, the bar,
I know
and
exactly
watching
what
like
you're
an
saying.
MMA fight,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a raffle for a free 1 month membership to a gym here in town. And I put my name in the raffle and I won it. And so they had a striking program, and jujitsu and everything, but I went into boxing
Mm-hmm.
first because um, I wasn't ready. I didn't even really know about jujitsu, to tell you
Right.
the truth, at that point. And so I started boxing, and it was a lot of fun. Then I went to kickboxing. Had this weird foot thing. Like I hated feet. And I was like that weirdo that would kickbox with shoes on, and everyone else was barefoot. And finally, actually, my first so the kickboxing instructor, his name was Josh Hinger,
Mm-hmm.
and he also taught the jujitsu program. And so I would watch longingly the jujitsu, but I was just too scared to do it. So I understand when it's so hard to get people through the door sometimes.
Right.
And sometimes it irritates me. I'm like, oh my God, just come in already. Why is it
Right.
going to take you 6 months to like get through the door? But
Right.
I did the same thing. And I have to remember that because I would watch them and want to do it so bad, but it looks so intimidating. And, first it was just a lot. So he finally talked me into doing a private,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so fun. We rolled. I laughed hysterically the entire time. I mean,
'Cause it's uncomfortable.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, because you feel like a little kid all
Right.
of a sudden, like playing with your dad
It does bring joy.
or brother,
I agree.
and you're just like rolling around and you don't even know what you're doing, but you're having so much fun. And he would just like sit on me and I would just like laugh hysterically. So some of it wasn't even jujitsu; it was just being playful,
Right.
and so that really helped me. And that's what I do now a lot with the women that I bring in, because I just want it to be so fun and playful and
Right.
exciting, because if you just dominate them from the beginning, they're not going to come back. It's not
100%.
fun, and so you gradually up the intensity as they're getting their first stripes and stuff like that. And I just know intuitively how hard I can push them sometimes. If they're not competing, then I don't really push them quite as hard. If they're competing, then I'm going to turn it up. It just like is like whatever their goals are, I want to be there to help support them, but always bring it back to making sure they're okay and having fun.
I think it's like important that you found, like, granted through a traumatic event, which is usually how it happens, where you find a why behind it
Yeah.
on what's going to push you. Because a lot of times, if you're just going in to check it out, like, you don't have the same like desire to. So
Mhm.
almost like it's a weird place of like personal development of like kind
Yeah.
of finding something deep.
I call it the gift of desperation,
Right.
because you're so desperate for help that
Right.
you will do anything to get there,
Right.
even if it's scary, because the past or it happening again is scarier.
Right.
So, that's for me. I got the gift of desperation in that, where I just like wanted so badly for me to never have to go through it again. The pain and the recovery and the fear and all of that stuff. And so, yeah, I always say that it's everything bad that's happened to me is the biggest gift that I ever could have received in so many ways. And so, and that's the other thing too, is like, as I was getting sober, it became like, I'm just somebody that has to be addicted to something.
Right.
Like, I know, I just am okay with that now. I have to just choose healthier options of things to be addicted to.
Right.
So being addicted to working out, or being addicted to jujitsu, or being addicted to business, honestly, and
Golf
even
right now, seeing
working.
that
Like,
too in your
yeah,
world.
oh,
Yeah.
I love golf so much. But being addicted to healthy things
Right.
is like, I love it. It gives me the satisfaction, the endorphins, in a really healthy manner. The strategy, like strategizing for me, is addictive.
Right.
When you get to that place of, when you're setting stuff up,
Right.
for a reaction, and,
Right.
or just you get so fast in your mind that no matter what happens, you know that you can handle it.
That's like a pure place of like confidence when
Mm-hmm.
you know that you can overcome anything you're about to go into.
Yeah.
That like it's crazy that you have to like callous it over and over by being in bad spots. So that way you can overcome that one and then overcome the next one. And all of a sudden, like you're overwriting all of the negative memories that you have with positive memories.
Mm-hmm.
And so now when you get into a trouble spot, you're like, I can do this because now I have this whole side of positive things of when I got through hard moments that I can go back to. And it's like, all right, if I was stuck here, this is what I did. And then it's trial and error again on which one works. But
Yeah.
I think it's important to like use both of them. Like you have to have the yin and the yang. You can't just have a perfect life of nothing happening. And like the adversity is what builds you. So when people like
Mm-hmm.
they want to get better, then it's like you got to find harder stuff to do. You've got to put yourself in tricky situations so you can get out of them. I think that can be dangerous with the fine line. Like I definitely come from an addictive personality, and I know that it took me to like cry in the mirror. Like it wasn't me physically crying. I felt like my soul crying to stop what I was doing, and like I knew that it was deep at that point, and I had to fix it. I had to change it because that pattern wasn't working anymore. Like the inside of me was like, you got to change, and that's how I knew like, all right, you're either growing or dying, because that was like a pure place of decay that I felt it, and it was like crying to go back into growth, and it's like, all right, then I live on the growth side of this spectrum, and I have to focus on getting better, and that's what I found was the the adversity. You put yourself in hard spots, and that's why you said when like real estate people or people who jiu-jitsu, like they're better when it comes to rejection, and because they've done it so much, like it doesn't, it's the same thing, like it can.
And just staying calm too, like when things get tough or
Right.
scary, just like knowing that there's a way out. There's always a way to fix things or to make things work, even if it seems scary or difficult. Like my mind always works like that. Like
Right.
there's a way where I just have to find it. And so instead of being like, oh my gosh, I can't do it.
It's so deep, and like building like personal evidence, going back to that, like it, what you're talking about is like a form of trust, right? And like trusting yourself to get through it. And
Mm-hmm.
also like how do you build trust with yourself is like you're making commitments, like even if they're just small ones, and you're completing the small commitment, and then now you have more trust evidence that you're a trustworthy person to yourself and others.
Yeah. So I had a sponsor way back in the day, and she said, because building self esteem, one of the biggest reasons why people drink are, they say, resentments. And then number two is just self esteem issues, self worth. So not feeling like you're worth it. And I was like, how do I build self worth and self esteem? And she was like, by accomplishing small, esteemable acts. And I'm like, what is that? Like, you're not helping me any. You're just giving me more words to try and decipher. That's kind of what she said, is like by making little promises to yourself and then keeping them,
Mm,
no matter what it is. Even if it's just like, for some people, the promise to get out of bed and take a shower every
I
day,
was just gonna say
it just
that
like
it's gotta
depends
be.
on what place you are in. Um, and that's building discipline too, right? Because we take for granted sometimes, like how good we have it, and realizing that there's people in that place
Right.
where they don't they don't get up and take a shower every day because they're in such a bad place.
Right.
Feeding themselves and just taking care of themselves in general, because their mental health is is so deteriorated. It's so bad. It's in such a hard place, or their addiction is in such a bad place that they can't even do those things. And so part of it was just like showing up for things that I would make a commitment to, because I used to have a
Mm-hmm.
ton of anxiety, ton of depression. And I would make a commitment to do something, and then my anxiety would just like kick in, and I would come up with an excuse
Mm-hmm.
not to do it. My kids were like the best excuse. Like, you tell somebody your kid has diarrhea and like you can get it out of anything.
100%.
And then, it just came to that place where I made that commitment, no matter how hard it was, no matter how scary it was, um, that I was going to do it. And then I went to the next place when I started being able to do that. Like, you know what? If something does scare me, I'm going to do it intentionally to conquer that fear. And then I started craving that, right? Like, so it started in this like little baby place, and then it developed into this like place of being a warrior.
Right.
Like, what fear can I conquer next? And it doesn't matter if it was like social media, I was
Right.
saying, was a huge fear for
Right.
me. Feeling like I conquered that. Like, I master my social media now. I use it to my advantage. I have a lot of fun on it.
Right.
Sometimes it does feel overwhelming to be in too many places at one time. And like, but then I realized I can do it my way. I don't have
100%.
to be like once a week a post or once a
No, no.
day on every site. I'm like, no, you know what? Like, that's my social media. I
Right.
fucking post when I want to post, how I want to post. And you know what? I want something to be the content to be sincere and good, as opposed to just putting something out there
For the sake of.
for the sake of putting something out.
Right.
And so that, the moment I began to realize that a little bit of rebellion can be really healthy,
Right.
if it's what you truly feel inside is right, like none of that's all that serious.
It
You know what
does
I mean?
come
And
down to
so
being authentic. I mean, they say the people don't remember like what you said, they remember the way you made them feel. And there's just
mhm.
something about that. And I think it could be different in areas of like, in my case, like I've had a life. I will say, like, I've overcome a lot in my life. Like the odds were always stacked against me, and I just like I've learned to thrive in that area where if people don't like it, like that's the reason, like even more why I have to accomplish the goal in front of me. And like with that, like I also felt the connection of like a journey on your end too, and it was like, damn, just getting there, like to show up, felt like, man, I'm not just showing up to roll. Like I'm showing up in life because it's to get to this next step right now, to accomplish this next task, even if it's just a role, even if it's just to be here on a podcast. Like it's more of, man, it's been rough, and like I'm excited to push myself to the next place that I need to be in my life. And like I felt that right away. Like it because when we're stuck in our head, when I'm stuck in my head, then I see this person walk in, your hair done, this powerful falcon eagle of a person, really, right? And then like we get just real when we connect like back into a spirit or our eyes, and we go into like, I've seen this weird drawing one time where it was like one mountain like this. These are two islands, and this one had like cities and like culture and all of the things you loved, right? Were here. And this one was an old like bomb where they dropped a nuke on it and it was like deserted. But when the islands are in the water and you suck up all the water, they're both connected.
Oh.
So regardless, like when you see the other one, you see it for like we're still connected, like in that manner. Yeah, and like you could feel it, like even if a person's in pain or it's not, it's like it gets better because then you can ask a question. You're like, "How are you?" Like for real, like I'm fucking struggling right now, and be real about it, right? And then just move on because sometimes it's just about somebody listening or saying it out of your mouth, right? Because I don't have this, like my headshot is not who I walk around all day. Like I posted on the video, like this is what I look like. I'm fucking rugged right now, but I'm calling because I want to help. Like last night, on a story, but it felt like being authentic, and I'm okay with that. Like I just want to pour what's real out there because then I'll do more of it. If I have to put off this facade or this fake image, then I'm gonna work harder to try to keep an image up, and then we're gonna get together, and then you're gonna be like, man, dude, like you oversold me on the way I thought you were, and really you're not. And I'd rather, you might have an expectation. You want to meet that guy or that guy. And if you're okay with that guy and I laid it all out there, then it's a win-win.
So I have an interesting, um, I don't know, just a revelation that I had about myself. I used to try and kind of put myself, I guess, into one box or the other. I felt like I had to be one thing or the other,
Mm.
or like that picture out there. Those are a lot of fun, and sometimes I do look like
That's how I
that,
put it,
and
though.
sometimes I am at events and I'm wearing like a gown and full makeup, and sometimes I'm in this like a blazer and jeans. I wear a lot, and sometimes I'm in golf clothes. I
Right,
mean, I've done showings in golf clothes,
right.
and I just don't even care. I'm like my clients, because I've come
She's
straight from the
Irish.
golf
I
course,
knew
and they're
it.
like, "Hey, I want to see this property." And I'm like, let's go do it. Like, you know what I mean? It's a last minute thing. They don't mind, but I on the fly, I don't care what I'm wearing. I'll show up. Um, luckily, everyone I work with just knows me so well and all my different characters, but they are all me. I am. You'll see me like in the gym yesterday where I've just have my hair up and I'm in nogi stuff and zero effort into the way I look. I'm just trying to be as functional as possible for our training session. And then there's the after the session where you're just like destroyed and sweaty and gross. And I even post pictures like that. And it's so funny because I always pray like that whenever I do pick my next partner or meet that person, I pray that he sees me like on the mat or
Right,
like destroyed first and not like in that picture on social media, because then I feel like it's totally like he's going to be like, man, I got catfished. But
yeah,
because but they're all of me. That's
right,
really how I roll,
right,
like one day I am going to be, and we talked about like my masculine energy and
right,
how I really embrace it. Like
right,
I have a lot of feminine energy, but I also have a lot of masculine energy too. And sometimes I feel girlier and I'm in a dress, and sometimes I feel like more tomboyish and I'm going to be in like jeans and a blazer, a pantsuit or something like
mm,
that. So, it's just how I feel that
Right.
day. And you're, yeah, I don't know.
It's
It's
interesting. I think
okay.
energy is like a moving thing where
Yeah.
like you're just constantly balancing it back and forth.
And it's about being multidimensional. Like I
Right.
really like that too. I feel like you don't always have to show up the exact same way to all the time. You
Right.
know, it's about having fun in life and playing, like experimenting and embracing like every different, like, I don't know, woman inside of me.
I think fun is so important.
Yeah.
Like the adding that element. I mean, what we do is already like boring. It's the same stuff over and over, but like the element of like incorporating fun, I think
Mm-hmm.
is necessary because somewhere down the line in our life, like we feel we can easily feel that we don't like it's got to be work, drive, drive, go, go without adding the fun piece to it. So like finding the way to make the hard stuff fun. Like
Mm-hmm.
again, I cannot stress that enough of watching you laugh during like uncomfortable spots. And the same is going to go for like, all right, we're mid day in work and how do we get back to a place of like feeling joy again? Even if
Yeah.
it's for a minute, like to bring that back out.
And that's huge with clients too,
Right.
because buying a house it can be very
Right.
stressful. There are some very, very stressful moments. You know, you working with the finance side of
Mhm.
it, it can, you know, that sometimes that's the most stressful piece is that, and I always tell people once you get past the pre-qualification, it's so much easier
Mhm.
because, you know, for some reason, just get that's like that first piece that people have a really hard time with. It can be really scary. First time home buyers. Am
Right.
I going to get rejected?
Right.
Am I going to be able to qualify for what I want? Am I going to be able to this? Am I that? And I'm like, shh, stop. Just do it.
Right.
Just do it because sometimes they're pleasantly surprised at what comes back and they're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. And my credit's in better shape than I thought. And like,
Right.
but they have it in their head, like all this fear because they're just scared. And they're thinking the worst instead of like trying to be optimistic. But like if I can just stop all that and get them to like get that first step, then it's great. And then in different parts of if you can make them laugh too, then they can, you know, it really helps. And so that's my number one strategy to like when things get stressful, if I can make them laugh, it just like lightens the whole mood and we can work past that little place because people get stuck places that aren't even they don't it doesn't serve them, you know, it doesn't help, it's not going to make the transaction any smoother or it's not going to give them a higher success rate of getting what they want.
Mm.
It's really just slowing down the entire process,
Right.
you know, that fear and hesitation and like digging their feet in
Right.
sometimes it happens. But you know, so the more fun I can make it, the smoother it goes, you know. And because it really there's so many moving pieces,
Right.
but when you're with people that are really good at what they do, it's not that it shouldn't be that scary. You know,
100%.
you just have to like relinquish control, let us take care of it. You know, let's have laugh, have some fun. You know, showings are the best. Like especially if you can kind of just like laugh at the one where we get catfished. You
Right.
know, sometimes you show up and a house is like beautiful in the pictures, and you show up and you're like, oh my god, like this is not even. They like totally. You know, this is not even. Is this the same house?
Right.
You
Exactly.
know, it's like broken down doors. It smells like smoke. There's a homeless person living. No, I'm just kidding. But
It happens though. Yeah.
yeah, you know, and you're just like, wow. That editing is really good. Like there's a filter for a house, you know. Like when the girl takes a picture and like, oh god. But yeah, just like being playful and having fun, it just makes everything so much better. In tense situations, it's the number one thing you do. It's just make someone laugh and we can work through it.
I think you hit the nail on the head with the like when you're around people that know what they're doing, like it's the same when like you're in the wrestling room with the kids. Like they're not seeing it the way you're seeing it because you've been through it enough times to know that
Mm-hmm.
you're going to get through it. And for the clients, like it's the same thing. Like it feels like you're talking to a kid again and you're
Yeah.
regrounding them and you're also coaching them at the same time. You're
Coaching
not
them.
letting off the gas, but then you establish the trust again because they're like, all right, we hit that baby step. We got there just the
Mm-hmm.
way we said we did. We got to get to the next step. And then you
Yeah.
can tie back to those moments of like, this is what we did. We've come here and now we got to go there. Like it's gonna be like that all the way till we're done. I promise you're gonna thank me when we're done. We'll high five and we get to that moment.
Yeah.
Like that's the best feeling when I'm the hero at the end of it and not the zero. Like all those over promises and stuff like that. Like I didn't appreciate it as a kid. it's not my job to keep filling that side up. Like if it's the commitments, like if I say I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And even when it comes down to stuff that I don't want to do, like, gosh, if I just helped this lady move like her whole house in a U-Haul, like was up in the morning, got the U-Haul, and Saturday like had practice, got done with practice, got into the U-Haul, and just was moving for the rest of the day. And it was like I didn't want to do it waking up because it was extra, and but I said I was gonna do it, and I was like, well, let's get after it. And little did I know, like that was the first time I've tried African food. Like I've never eaten like real African food. So I was sitting and sitting
Yum.
there and just to feel comfortable with like people who are speaking French, and like I felt at home because like everybody has a story. Everybody like they were hustling to get their family here, and the house that the big ass house of 2 stories that they got now, like they can fit so much more people in there, and they're like their life's changing. And it's like, man, if I didn't actually like step up to help in this moment, like I wouldn't have got to see what the job is at, like what they're gonna actually do after this. And to be a part of that is like there's people across the country, like in a whole nother place that get to come have a place to be a family and start a new life. Like they all have steps, and I get to be a part of it. And I was like, damn, this is pretty deep. Like that's moments where the fulfillment comes back on, all right, am I helping people or hurting people? Like are they just a number? And like I build evidence in that I'm helping actual people in their lives. And it those are the places like I know I have to hold on to, because then I can be hard on myself. Like you hear that sometimes, I'm like, man, you whooped my ass, but like you, I know you did, but at the same time, like I'll get it down. I'm gonna get better.
Yeah, to use that as fuel,
Right,
because you have two options. You can be like, oh, like, fuck this, I'm never doing this
right,
again. This sucked.
right,
Or you can be like, damn, that was freaking amazing.
right,
Like, I'm gonna get better so that I can hang and I can like, I want now that I want to learn this and
right.
I want to get better, and then so we have those two options. So I have a friend that used to say that that voice that tells us like, oh, don't do it, make an excuse, like you can get out of it, you don't have to do it, it's early, like you should be taking the day off and doing this, whatever. That's like your lower power, right? And so your
Mm,
higher power tells you be good, be kind, help others, take care of people, give back. That's like your higher power, whatever you believe, like God and the devil, or like positive, negative energy, like whatever your spirituality is. But your higher power is the one that's like telling you to do all the good. But then your lower power is the one that will try and pull you away from it,
mm,
back down that rabbit hole, back down to that place of that person that you used to be.
right.
And that person is, unfortunately always there inside of us. Like I think when you struggle with like addiction or,
Mm,
whatever. And so, but if we let that one win all the time, it slowly takes us backwards into the, darkness.
100%.
And that's our lower power winning. But if you fight it and you say, no, I made this commitment, and you go do it, you're always rewarded more than you ever anticipated
Mm,
with just um, those gifts of like, sometimes you don't feel it into the end, just
right,
being like, wow, I could have missed this. Like, this is so good. And you grow
right.
in those situations. And so they say, like, if you, or like a meeting or I don't know, maybe like a Bible study or a jujitsu
Anything.
class or
Boxing
whatever it
yesterday, I felt
is.
like I grew.
Yeah. Like
Like,
when you're like, oh, I don't really want to go, that's when you need to go the most.
mm,
And so when you push past it, and because that's your lower power pulling you
mm,
away from something that can help you grow
right.
like so good. And then so if you fight that and you go, like often you're like blessed with this amazing gift of like just like I don't know, one of the best classes you'll ever have, or one of the best opportunities you'll ever have,
Right.
because you never know what is on the other side of that door,
And it's
when your
so
heart is pure and your intentions are pure and you're truly just like trying to help somebody else.
and yourself like daily, right? Because that inner voice is your inner voice of the shit
Mhm.
that that, and it happened. It worked for a while, like even the victim mentality that comes from it, like all the justifying excuses,
Mhm.
like that it served you at one time. That's why you did it. otherwise, if it didn't serve you, you wouldn't have done it. Like you wouldn't have let that lower power voice. Why would you ever let the lower power voice take over? Well, there's a benefit to it. Like there's that
Easier.
like carrot. Like it's easier. You don't have to show up.
You
Like
can be lazy.
100%. You don't.
It's lazy and being lazy and greedy.
What about embarrassed? Like had I not like
Oh.
been open minded to getting choked out 10 times, like you know what I'm saying? Like still like on camera. Hello, even better. Let's go. Coach Stefan get his ass kicked by a woman. Let's go. But at the same
Oh,
time, like it's
God.
building a belief system that you have value to bring in the world. And that if I don't show up, like what if I miss the opportunities to bring value myself, not just receive
Absolutely.
something? It's like I have something to give here.
Well, and that's the other thing too, right? And so I did Worlds, Master Worlds
Mm-hmm.
this last year, and I didn't realize that I was going to get my purple belt sooner than I thought. I thought I was going as a blue belt. I was signed up, and then I got my purple belt, which was an amazing gift. I wanted it so bad, and everyone was like, "Are you still going to go to Worlds?" You know, I'm like, "Yeah, why not? I'm signed up. Who cares? Like, let's go see what can happen." You know, and I don't know. It's like those losses, they just help so much too. Like it was a great time. I got to bond with my team, and you know, losses are hard. They hurt,
Mm-hmm.
but like at the end of the day, it's something you can share with somebody else. Like you're going to lose sometimes. It's going to suck. But you know what? You're going to learn so much because like when I went up against her, I was like, "Wow, she is just so amazing." She was so strong. She was so fast. And so it kind of like unlocked this little piece in my mind of like, that's what I need to be. I need to be that aggressive. I need to be stronger. I need to start lifting more again.
Mm.
I kind of fell away from it. And so it like reinvigorated like my passion for wanting to grow. And so, again, even though I lost, it was still like one of the coolest adventures ever. And I just learned so much and fighting that level of athlete as
Right.
well.
That scares the shit out of me that there's someone stronger out there than you. the I think
It's
that's
like letting
important
go of
too.
the ego, you know
Right.
what I mean? And so our ego keeps us from growing.
Right.
And once we can be like really humble and just be like, yeah, high five somebody else that kicked your ass and be proud of them because you're like, you are better than me. You trained harder than me. You're stronger than me. You're all these
Right.
things. Like I told on the way back, I'm like, you're just amazing. Thank you so much for kicking my ass. Like it was just so good, you know, because I don't know. It's just like we have a choice of how we're going to look at it. And yeah,
Man, I've had this it's perspective, right? Like this
absolutely. All
revelation
mindset.
around it. Um Here, open mind girl. Let's see. Try this with me, okay?
Okay.
You're going to go give me your left hand. Put it out in front of you. Go out of the triangle lock you're in there. And then so we're going to go together. Kind of watch me.
Okay.
Together, we're going to pretend there's a clock up here. And it's a circle clock like there is in school. And at the top of the clock, there's a 12. And so what we want to do is go backwards. So we're going to go counterclockwise. So we're going to hit the 11, the 10, the 9. And now we're going to go all the way down the rest of the clock.
Oh, it's like in a circle like that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So keep going. So now you're going to bring your elbow down. Keep going. Down. Down.
Your fingers like this.
And then now, take a look at it.
It's still a finger.
It's still a finger. Such a good takeaway. Now, which way is your finger going? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Go down lower. Now look down at it. 1, 2, 3. That way. Do that with your finger. So is that counter or is it clockwise? Count the numbers on the clock.
It's clockwise.
It's clockwise. It's still a finger. It never changed. You just changed the way you looked at it.
Change the angle.
And this perspective. All those things. Every single moment in your life, we get perspective opportunities. And you're either going to use it for you or you're going to add it to something that's going to feed to your lower power voice.
Mm-hmm.
But is it ever going to change? Is it ever going to get unchallenging? Like sitting here having a conversation can be challenging. It's different, right? Like you have to connect again and get back to who you are to take the noise away from it, the rest of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that it's just a huge piece of the puzzle on how you. I think it's
I
life
agree.
changing.
And so, I hear a lot of people say life isn't perfect, and I'm like, but it is perfect.
Mm,
That's a choice. Like perfection isn't measured.
right.
It is an opinion. It's just something that the way you feel about something.
Right.
And so when people say that, I'm like, I don't know about you, but my life actually is perfect. Like I'm not where I necessarily want to be. Like I have more to grow,
Right.
but it's so perfect right now. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be at the exact moment I'm supposed to be here. I'm growing. I'm happy. I'm sober.
Right.
And that's like the number one thing is like, I think because the days where I saw the darkest of days and I just truly didn't even want to live anymore,
Right.
nothing, as long as I'm out of that, as long as I'm sober, like everything is perfect.
Which is decay, right? And then you find yourself in growth. Now, I picked up this affirmation over the years, and it's I'm perfect as I am and as I am becoming. So right now, I'm as perfect as I'm going to be. And just like you mentioned, like I have more to grow. So as I'm becoming, like tomorrow, I'm going to be my next perfect form. And the day after that, I'll be my next perfect form. Because I'm okay with the growth it's going to take to get there. And I'm okay with growing too and knowing that I still have room. It's not that I'm just perfect and that's the say all be all. Like it is what it is. Like I am okay with working on that next form of me and doing the things necessary to get there. Because I can't get to that flight of stairs if I don't go through these ones.
Yeah.
Tough life. Tough life.
Yeah.
Which is good.
But so I had to take a bunch of classes once, and I had the opportunity to take like the power of positive thinking class,
Uh-huh.
and I feel like it wasn't really taught very well, but it kind of planted the seed of turning a negative into a positive. And I feel like if this concept isn't taught the right way, sometimes it can push people away because it sounds so ridiculous. And I'm like, turn a negative into a positive. You just flip it around. But like sometimes you just can't flip stuff around. But it's finding the beauty in things, finding the lesson. And, I do ask God sometimes for clarity because I'm like, I need clarity on this situation. I don't know what's going on. And like, please help me find the lesson. And so inevitably it comes like later, and so then I can look at it as a positive
Right.
because I learned something from it. Or even if it's like, oh, my air conditioning broke, like, but thank God I have the money to fix it, and I can make I just like live in constant gratitude. I'm like constantly praying and talking to God and thanking God for everything that I'm given. And because even when things are tough, like there's always like an opportunity for growth in there. And I believe in really like pushing myself to places where I do break. And I know that this is, it being our choice and looking for the lesson, you know, looking for the beauty in things, looking for the gift, because there's always a gift in the lesson. But I truly believe in pushing myself to places where I do break. I tell, like, I get a lot of new people coming into real estate, and sometimes they call me crying, and I'm like, good. Like,
Right.
I'm glad you're crying, because if you're not crying, if you don't cry in real estate at least once,
Right.
you're not being pushed hard enough.
Right.
Like, you need to go find another mentor. You need to go find you need to push yourself harder.
Right.
Whatever it is, you need to be pushed that hard, because it's a lot. And I think that's entrepreneurship
Yeah.
in general, building a business, any business. It is so hard the first 2 years. And so you have to hustle like you've never hustled before. You have to make sacrifices, but realize that they're not forever too, But you have to succeed, you have to put everything, all of your eggs in that basket and go with it. And then eventually, you take off and it kind of starts piloting. But you have to try everything. You have to do
Right.
everything. You have to work with everyone. You have to work crazy hours. And if you're not willing to do that, you can still succeed. You're just not going to do it as fast,
Right.
And so I will push myself to the max. I'm PTO president of my kids' school, and we yearly do this gingerbread shop. And so that is my craziest week of the entire year
That's
because
exciting.
I work like a 60-hour work week that week. And that's me scaling back because I'll work at 60, 70, sometimes 80 hours
Right.
a week if I need to. I just make it happen. But I do 60 hours of that, and then I do another 20 to 25 hours of volunteering that week. And then this year I challenged myself because not this last Christmas, but the one before, I cried. I was like, I don't even know how I'm doing this. It was like 90 hours that I had worked, and I was so tired. I didn't do jujitsu. I took the
Right.
week off. But afterwards, I went back to my regular work week of like 60 hours, 70 hours, and it felt like nothing.
Huh.
So like, even though I broke myself down in that week,
Right.
at the end, I was in tears. Like,
Right.
I was just such a mess. I realized that I didn't die.
Right.
I was fine. It was a lot, but I made it through it.
Right.
And so when the next year rolled around, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I got this. And I'm going to do jujitsu every single morning. And not only am I going to run my business, not only am I going to volunteer every single day,
Right.
but I'm also going to train every day.
Right.
And so then I did it. And I was like, hell yeah, and part of it, people ask me all the time, like, how do you pack it all in? And I'm like, I don't sleep very much. I don't sleep a lot. I sleep probably like 5 hours a night.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 6 on like a really good night, sometimes 4. But I used to tell myself like, oh my gosh, if you don't get enough sleep, you're just going to be an emotional mess and you're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to have enough energy. And I'm like, fuck that. I don't
Low
tell
power
myself
voice.
I don't tell myself that anymore. I'm like, I don't need that much sleep. There's people like in the military and stuff where they go like days without
Right.
sleep and they're still like carrying all this equipment and hiking. And I'm like, I'm being a little bitch. Like, I need to quit whining and realize that I'm not going to die if I don't get enough sleep. I'm stronger than I realize. And I don't need it.
I think it's important to find those, like, for people who don't know that they have them yet. Like, they got to stretch it to even see that they have, like, that much capacity in their life, right? Like, again, you're still here and you're stronger on the other side. And now the next time the little, I almost call it a little bitch voice, but your little low-powered voice comes out and says, like, you're tired or you need to do this, you go back to the moment of when you worked your ass off and you didn't sleep much at all, so you don't really need to sleep because what's important is completing the thing in front of you. Like, if you don't get it done now at this time, then you're going to feed that voice anyways.
Yeah, and so that is a huge thing. Is like, it's what you feed yourself. If
Right.
you're telling yourself like you're fine, you're tougher than you think you are, you don't need that much sleep, you're going to live. Get up and go do that,
Right.
And so the more it's like brainwashing yourself.
Right.
And so the more I've done that, the more I realize and I have tons of energy and I don't sleep that much, but I came from I wasn't always like that, but I made myself be like that. Like, we have so much more power over ourselves than we realize.
Right.
But our minds are the most powerful thing we have. And if we can convince our minds that, of all these different things, like, we can become just, so much more productive people and healthier people.
I think 1,000%. Like, I've never said that way. 1,000%. Like, all of it. I think it, like, where I do see the opportunity is going to be when it starts to go south, because it's part of it's just part of life, right? Like, you can drive so much in one area, but, like, I'll speak, like, only for myself when I know that, like, I'm on it. And then if I start to let the low-powered voice in, then I can let it in again, and I can let it in again. So it's like, all right, how many times have I let this low-powered voice in that I have to shut it down? Or sometimes, like, what if I don't know that I have the lower-powered voice taking over right now? And it's like, shit, now I was caught back in an old
Because
routine.
it can be convincing.
100%.
Those excuses, it comes as reasons,
Right.
and they're like, oh, and sometimes it even comes as like, oh, you don't need to do it. You need more sleep.
Mm-hmm.
It can be so convincing. And especially with addiction,
Right.
pulling you back into addiction, like, oh, you can just drink one. Oh, you can hide it. Nobody will ever know. All of those things that like my lower power, told me to suck me right back to the drink. And, it was destroying my life, and it pulls you under it literally destroyed, almost destroyed my life completely, almost took my life, and almost destroyed the lives of everyone around me,
Right.
Because we are, especially as a mother,
Right.
it, we're, everything we do is so impactful
Right.
on our children. And at the time, my husband, who's now my ex-husband, but, it's so elusive.
Right.
And it feels so good. Like, oh, your bed is so comfortable. Just stay here.
Right.
You don't have to get up. It's so warm. Just keep cuddling,
100%. Just 2 more hours.
Yeah.
1 more hour.
Yeah, just 15 more minutes. Just 5 more minutes. That turns into 15. That turns
what's
into 30.
crazy is,
That
like,
turns into, you never do it,
to take that voice and like connect it to, like, for me, the one that didn't work. Like, what I would hate the most is when I'd be coming down off day 2 or 3 of a drug addiction that I had. Like, I've never really like called it an addiction. I thought I was just living my life. And there was always this time, happened every time, where I was like, I'm never gonna do this again. Never gonna like. And then 2-3 days later, the reasoning came back, and it was like, then it turned into the same pattern again, and then it's lost of like, and then it goes over that, and then all of a sudden you're 2-3 years later, and you're like, what the hell? I've been like living like this, and that's what I'm getting at with like, where do you find the blinders of like, oh shit, my lower powered voice has been taken over. And I think that's a good way to put it. Like, even on the little thing of sleep, like over the alarm, tie it to the deepest place of like that soul crying out in the mirror for me of like, stop. Like, because in essence, I'm breaking my word. Like, I wouldn't even set my alarm for 4 a.m. if I didn't have a mission to get to in the morning.
And that's your higher power, right?
Right.
Your higher power is telling you this is the way to success.
Right.
Yeah, 4 a.m. alarm. But then that, 4 a.m. alarm comes and you put it.
But you worked late last night and you had this and you took that late application and, so it's okay. You worked hard for it. You can sleep. You can sleep the extra 2 hours, but then you miss the rest of your routine.
And I think part of it is just identifying it, being able to like see it. And so that's like the transition where when you're trying to, and this is a great topic because we're in the new year and everyone has set like all their new goals, all of that stuff. And a lot of them have to do with weight loss. And I've been there too, where I'm like, no, don't eat that or get up and work out. And, and we set these goals because we know like that's our higher power trying to help us grow, to be healthy, to be happy, to be, like healthy physically, emotionally, whatever it is, a healthy weight. And then like every time we're kind of like sucked back into it, we just lose it so fast. And so it's only hard in the beginning. You're fighting that voice only in the beginning, right? And so it's like really, really hard to, you go with the motivation. That's where the motivation comes in. Like, use it. Use the motivation, get angry, use whatever you have to do to fight, because when you have that motivation, it actually quiets the voice of the lower power. And then, but there's going to be times when you're weak and you have to be like, you know what? No, I'm doing it. No matter what. I made that commitment to myself, those small esteemable acts of showing up, even when you said you're,
don't want
when
to.
you, even when you don't want to, or not eating that thing, those are the things we are fighting that fight in the beginning, but then all of a sudden it starts feeling good. And if you do it enough, then you build the discipline, and so once the discipline happens, and that's you just saying like, okay, even if I don't want to do it, I'm going to do it anyways. But then if you go past discipline, you get into habit and routine, and your body just autopilots it. And people ask me like, how do you do it every day? And I'm like, yo, I fought for a long time. I'm not saying it just happened overnight and I just made a decision and I'm like, one day I'm just going to lose a ton of weight. And one day I'm just going to do jiu-jitsu like all the time. And one day I'm just going to like have a business that I'm so committed to and I just work constantly at. No, like it took me it was like a journey through each one
100%.
of like me fighting to like make it happen, to like me being disciplined and like, okay, it gets easier, but I still have to like fight that fight. I still have to show up when I don't
100%.
want to. But then I start craving it,
Right.
because you get past like then you get into the routine where it
Right.
just feels normal and
Right.
it feels weird when you don't do it. And that's a gift. But then when you get past even that, then you get into like where you crave it.
Right.
You just want it. You
Right.
can't live without it. If you take it away, people ask, "Oh my God, I'm never gonna find a
Right.
boyfriend because they want me to go on vacation." And I'm like, "You're pulling me away from my business and my
Right.
jujitsu, and like what do you have to offer me
Well,
that's
it's this
better than that?"
new image you've created over yourself that's
Yes.
better than the
And
old
I'm
image.
in love with it.
Right. Yeah,
You
that's
know,
powerful.
I'm so in love with it that that's all I want to do. But it came from me saying like, no, you have to go. You have to
Right.
do this. You have to do
Right.
that. You made a promise,
Not really
It's
seeing
an
the end result yet.
evolution. It is absolutely an evolution.
Mm.
It doesn't happen overnight. I am not a naturally disciplined person. I am a naturally like, I just want to fly by the seat of my pants and do
Mhm.
whatever I want, and I'm really rebellious, and I don't want to do that, and I don't want accountability, and I don't want this,
Mhm.
and I don't want commitment. Like I am that person. So if I can do that, if I can like push past it and get to a place where I am so accountable
Right.
now, people ask me like to be in accountability groups, and I'm like, I don't need it.
Right.
I like am
Right.
so accountable in my business, in my weight loss, or not like my weight management, I
areas.
guess,
Yeah.
like in my jujitsu,
Right.
in my in everything that I do, I'm so accountable. I don't need somebody else to hold me accountable.
Mhm.
But what I can do is be the accountability for somebody else
Right.
that needs help.
Right.
And so that's freaking cool.
Yeah, that reminds me of that like you just being the lighthouse
Oh,
You being the lighthouse in your life.
I love that.
versus the tugboat and going down into everybody else's life. Like you just stay strong, and then, if anything, like that's more powerful because you're disciplined to staying the course of your life no matter what, versus taking on someone else's shit. And when you do that, like you come back, the tugboat comes back beat up. Like that was a journey in itself. But you can only do one at a time. If you just stay strong to your mission, then you can pull in more people. More boats will come. They'll just see you strong, and they're like, all right, we gotta go.
Yeah,
We gotta keep
and
going.
so that's the other hard thing too, is because I attract a lot of people that are in the beginning part of their journey,
Mm-hmm.
especially I work with new women in sobriety,
Mm,
and often they're wanting to better themselves in the weight loss thing. But as soon as and I even tell people when I do go into sponsorship, like I'm not an easy sponsor.
mm-hmm.
I don't have a lot of time, and if you waste it, you're going to have to go find another sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with people who are working out. I'm like, if you choose to give me excuses, like we're done here.
Right.
Like I don't accept them
Right.
because I don't have fucking time to
Right.
carry your weight if you're not willing to do the fucking work.
Right.
And so it scares them a little bit, but at the end of the day, I'm like, go find somebody else. Like I can be your friend, but I'm not helping you if you're not going to really, really commit. Like I can't be more committed to this than you are. It's
Right.
not acceptable. Don't waste my fucking time.
That's your goals, your dreams, your desires. And I can't be
Yeah.
more committed to them than you are.
But I feel like that's what I needed.
Right.
I needed somebody to not take my shit, to not
Right.
take my excuses, to tell me like if I was late that I was abusing their time. If I did it again, we're done. And so like
That's deep.
yeah,
That's
and now
deep.
I tell people that, don't abuse my time. I don't have a lot of it. And if you do, we're done. And so yeah, it's definitely, but that's how I grew. That's how I learned boundaries.
Right.
That's how I learned how to set boundaries, is by people setting them with me years and years and years ago, and now I'm using the same verbiage, the same dialogue that they used on me, because it helped. Being called on my bullshit helped me grow exponentially. The people that, is that what that is?
That's golden, glorified
hilarious.
bullshit.
So now I don't sign I don't co-sign other people's bullshit.
Right.
If you start giving me excuses and bullshit, I'm going to call you on them immediately. I don't accept them.
What's the best form of care? Like, do you even care for a person
Yes.
if you just co-sign their bullshit?
Yeah. And even people that like keep telling me, oh, like, I'm going to come back to jiu-jitsu, or I'm going to do this. And I'm like, don't even tell me that anymore. Show up through the door. Because
Right.
every time you tell me that you're going to come
Then
back
you
to
break it.
jiu-jitsu and then you don't do it, I fucking lose respect for you.
That it hurts two people,
And
right?
they're
Like,
like, "Oh, that's so painful."
yeah,
And
it's
I'm like,
deep.
"I'm sorry, but like I'm not going to be like, "Oh, okay, whenever you're ready." I'm just not that person.
No,
I don't yeah.
it's it hurts two people. It's a lose lose situation versus a win win. When you
Yeah.
just show up and get it done, then there's no expectation. We're just here to dance together.
Yeah.
Or if you say you're gonna be there and you're not there, well, think about my case. Like I go back to being that little boy waiting on the curb for a false promise, and it's like shit. Why do I go back to
Mhm.
feeding that shit? Because I'm attracting these people in my life that have low self esteem or low. They let their low energy voice win, their low level
Mhm.
voice win.
Yep.
Versus like that's not who I am. Like I attract high level voice people because that's my boundary. That's my standard. Like if we're in
Yeah,
it, we're
your
in it. If
standard.
not, we're not. It's easy to say no when it's that deep for both of us because you're gonna chip away at yourself. And if I don't say something, then it means I don't care for you.
Mhm.
And if I
Exactly.
set an expectation that you're gonna be there and you're not there, now you're fucking with this childhood voice of mine that's coming out that's just wants to feel worthy enough to get picked up. And nobody fucks with that kid because I've done so much work to build that boy back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's
And
exciting.
and part of it is like having the courage, and it doesn't come naturally. Like I used to be scared to have those conversations. I used to be scared to upset people,
Mm,
with those words. But at the end of the day, like you're doing them a
right.
disservice by letting them continue to make promises and not show up. And the moment you call people on them is the moment they realize like, wow, that's hurting
Mm,
somebody else. Like I didn't realize what I'm doing
mm,
and what I sound like or whatever it is. And so by having that hard conversation, because it doesn't feel good for me to
right.
say that, like I don't like having those conversations. I do them because I care about the person and because I just refuse to let them keep making the excuses, not just for me, but for them too.
Mm,
And, so a lot of that is courage,
right.
and I went to Toastmasters. That
Right.
was one of the coolest things I ever did,
Right.
teaching you the sandwich
Mm-hmm.
method of saying something positive, then the critique, and then something,
Feedback.
more, positive at the, or loving at the end to help them receive that message.
Mm,
And so that's how I kind of started,
right.
by giving that like hard feedback. But now I'm just so blunt.
Right.
Like I don't sandwich it
Yeah.
with anything.
It's a steak and I'm
Like
leaving this
there's
shit
no
bloody.
sandwich here. You're just
Yeah.
getting it straight,
Right.
like it is. So, um, because I've learned to appreciate people who are very direct.
Right.
It's like the fastest
Right.
way to get the information that you
Mm-hmm.
need without the fluffy bullshit wrapped around it because it's so not necessary. But I wasn't always ready for it. I had to get stronger to really appreciate it.
100%.
And I don't know. Mm.
I think it's a tough gift to have. Like it's helpful, not hurtful, and embracing it is a good thing.
And it has to come from a place of love. And
Right.
so sometimes I pray before a hard conversation. I
Right.
just say, God, give me the right words because I want this to come out as powerful as it possibly can. I want
Mm-hmm.
to make a difference and I want to keep it like with a pure heart, like
Mm.
without being malicious or angry or
Right.
passive aggressive. That's the one I hate the
Right.
most when people are passive aggressive. Um,
Or revengeful, like because you did
yeah,
this, I'm gonna do this. So now I'm
right.
saying no to
So now
this
I'm like
because
saying
yeah.
this to be hurtful back.
Right.
Like I don't ever want to do that. I'm
Right.
just saying like, and so sometimes I'll take a step away. I'll get really quiet
Right.
before I come back and I say something because I want to make sure that it is really pure
Right.
and my intentions are pure for the delivery of that message.
Right.
And that's when it's really powerful. That's when you can make a true change in somebody's life.
Right.
Not when it's like yelling at them and
Right.
cussing them out, calling them names,
Right.
belittling them. Like that's not effective communication. It's not going to help anyone. And all you're going to do is regret all of it later.
Yeah, that reminded me of my daughter again on the wrestling mat, and it's like there's a time and place for me to like coach in that moment, and she was in fight or flight, like in her tunnel vision, and so she wasn't receiving the way out that I was attempting to give, or I was trying to give. So I know
Yeah.
there's a different way to present that,
So it's so hard to coach your kids, though.
I bet.
Or I've heard even spouses or partners. It's
Oh yes,
it's tough.
there's a different place. Like luckily, there's this weird like third person angle in the room of when I'm coaching other kids, and my kids are just in the room as students, and they see something working, and in a way another kid receives back to me and they see we're good, like it almost is like that's communicating that dad knows what he's talking about. And it's not me, because we have, like when we walk off and we bow at the way out, I have to turn back into dad at that moment versus coach. When I'm in coach, like everyone's the same and I'm pushing you to get to the goal on the whys on that. But then when we're outside is when, like, I think that's where I messed up in that part is I was on the outside of the gate and I was coaching as coach. And it was like, hold on, I'm dad right now. I just got to be supportive. Like,
Yeah.
kick her ass would have been better, like, than what I was giving at the time. But it's so important. You brought up a good point on, like, with the kids, too. I mentioned something that was, like, just left field for me. But, like, I stopped. We were, like, testing on a move, and every kid was getting their turn. And there was one kid that was, like, making fart noises and like just being a kid, like, and I was like, hold on, and I stopped everybody and I was like, do you not like that person? And he said, no, I like him. I was like, do you want to hurt that person? And talking about the other kid that was testing at the time, and he's like, no, I would never do that. I was like, well, that's what you're doing right now. This is their time right now to get, and there's only so much that they get to test for this right now. And if they're not getting it, they don't get better. Do you want him to stay down low and not grow? No, I want him to grow. And so he thought about it, like, at the moment.
See,
It was
called
like,
him on it.
and every time that he's about to do it again, it's like, man, do you raise your hand? Do you not like that person? Yes or no? And just be honest, like, just like that. And do you like that person? Yes. Okay, then respect them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they don't understand, what they're doing.
Right.
They don't understand the consequences of their action
Right.
and how they make other people feel sometimes. So putting it into perspective for them
Right.
sometimes helps stop the behavior without even so much as a punishment or
Right.
anything like that. It's just helping them understand what they're doing.
And that was a different scenario from like waiting till after like class or talking to his parent outside or something like that. It was like the dog just peed, and if we don't like address this now, then I can't spank the dog 2 weeks later. Like it's not gonna know what the hell is going on. It was like that concept of where
Immediately
it just
is
came out like
better.
intuition. I was like, all right, stopped it, felt it, and then moved on, and we were cool after that. Like, and now like nobody wants to be in the hot seat either like that. So we think before we start doing stuff. Otherwise, we know that it could turn into that. And
Well, and when you do that, because they always say praise in public and critique in private, but sometimes there's an opportunity to critique in public that helps everyone else learn as well. And so when it can be a group lesson, then it's very, very acceptable to do it in public, because sometimes it's a more powerful lesson too, to be called out in public for something. If it's immediate, and again, if it's causing an immediate, it needed to be addressed right away.
Right. Yeah, that's a crazy angle to take on it with what you just said, because how do you distinguish when like this is something we have to talk about in private or now? But then again, I've been in a hot seat where like a manager, like even like the other company that I was talking about of being there first, like would just point fingers and do things like at the top of his lungs, and like that felt hurtful. Like I felt like the little voice taking over again.
Yeah.
That was a whole different place than like how could we have coached that different?
Yeah.
And I think it was the words,
so
right? Like,
it absolutely is the words. It's the energy. Again, like I was on a team in the beginning, and that was kind of her way of communication, as she would like humiliate you in front of the other people, and the words she used were just and the energy and the aggression.
Right.
It was to humiliate you
Right.
in public, and because you weren't making your phone calls or you weren't doing whatever. And so, that is, and then everyone else is like, especially when they love you,
Right.
And they've also been in that place, and it hurts them to hear, your team lead speak to you that way, because but it's just like the most awkward thing ever. And all it does is create a negative energy. And then they come to you afterwards and they're like, don't worry, she's done that to me before. It's like awful. Like, I know what it feels like, but don't worry, just like totally disregard it. And then they're like, and just like make stuff up like it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going so far that you have to like lie and make stuff up. Like, I'm a freaking adult. You know what I mean? Like, what am I doing here?
Right.
Why am I, and then so I ended up leaving like really fast. A lot of nobody else is really still there from that team. It's like a revolving door, because of just the way they treat people and publicly, you
Right.
know? And so it's, but then I've seen teams do it where it's actually really powerful, you know, the way,
And it's probably in the words
y-
too, on the way.
yeah, and it's just like really cool. And he comes from a place of love. Like, so Kay Watanabe is someone
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I refer, like, if somebody wants to go on a team, I honestly almost always put them on his
Uh-huh.
team. He is one of the best leaders. He was my mentor in Toastmasters
Mm-hmm.
and really helped me grow there.
That's what I thought of when you said that.
Yeah, he's just a phenomenal person, a phenomenal leader, a phenomenal coach, a phenomenal agent. Just and so I sit in his meetings sometimes, and I love the way he structures everything. And when he pulls up somebody's calendar or their calls and they listen to him, it's really like, okay, how can we make this better? Like,
Right.
this is where you're struggling. Like, let's fix this problem. Where is it coming from?
Right.
You know, and it's all about like, how can I build you to be better? Like,
Right.
let's overcome this, you know? And so, I wish, I mean, in hindsight, I wish I could have gone there, but we all have
Right.
our own paths, and I've learned
100%.
so much from him. And
Right.
I tell him, like, when I end up building my own team, I
Right.
want it to be almost identical to that,
Right.
his structure. I just love it so much.
Yeah, no, it's definitely powerful when you're empowering other people by pulling out the aha moments, because then they're actually changing, right? It's like it's not a place to bring a person down. Like there's two types of people. You're either going to like build a high building, or
Yeah.
you're going to have a building and knock every other building down
Oh
so yours
yeah.
looks the biggest.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore it's like it's fake at that point. It's fake numbers, it's fake all that stuff versus like build everybody up and let that be your driving factor. No, that's powerful. That's influential.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's really cool. So
Ladies and gentlemen, Christina Calderon in the house, just pouring her heart out. Man, I promise in this podcast to only speak when my words bring value. I'm not always the value bringer. Sometimes I'm just the bridge, and I'm okay with that. And today, if anything resonated with you, how can they reach out to you, Christina?
honestly, probably social media is the best. Facebook and Instagram. I'm probably the most active on Instagram. I go back and forth between which one I love the most, and right now it's Instagram. But so DM me, PM me, whatever. Christina Calderon or Christina Calderon Real Estate.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah,
We're going to have to
let's
run this
do
one
it.
back.
Yeah,
Thank you for being here.
yeah. Thank you for having me.